are going to change our print film festival program that we made last week into an interactive PDF or digital PDF. So in order to do that, the first thing we are going to do is I am going to do a file and a save as, and I will just save this to my desktop, and I will just add digital to the end of the file name so I know it's a different file from our print file, and I will click save, and then we can start working on making this all digital. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to get rid of our bleed. So if I go into view, screen mode and normal to see our working file, you will see that we have our bleed here, our red line, that's our 3 mil bleed for our printer, but we don't need that for our digital version. So what I will do is I will go into file, page setup, and down here with bleed I will put in 0 and click on this little icon so that it's 0 around all the sides, and click OK, and then that will make our bleed disappear. So the next thing I will do, I'll just go back into my preview mode so it's a little bit cleaner. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to make sure all our images are RGB for our digital output. So our cover AI is fine. This one here is CMYK. So same as last week when we converted them to CMYK, we're just going to convert them to RGB now. So I will right click on the link and I will go edit with and Photoshop, and that will bring it up in my Photoshop window, and I will just go image mode and RGB, and I will click file, save as, and I will save it in the links folder. You'll see I have some in here already, and it's on Colin Kuhn RGB, and I will click save and replace because I already have one in there. So I just want to show you how it's done, and click OK, and then I'll go back to my InDesign window, and with it still selected I will relink it here, and I will find it and click open. So we're just going to do this with the other two. I already have them converted to RGB, so I'm just going to relink them. So I'm just going to get the link here. I'm going to find where I saved it. So it's Wolf Walkers RGB. I'm going to click OK. And the same with Banshees of Inisherin. So you'll see CMYK. I'm going to change it now to the RGB version and click open. And you'll see it's now RGB. And I'm just going to do a quick save as, which is Command S on my computer. It might be Control S on a PC. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure my colors are all RGB. Because of the hex codes I use, they're not going to change that much, but just for good practice I will double click on my swatch and I will change this to RGB, and you'll see here the file has changed, and so is the color space. So it's not the 4 colors anymore, it's the RGB 3 colors, and I'll do the same for the other colors in my document and click OK. So now we have changed, we've got rid of our bleed, we have changed our images to RGB, and we've changed our colors to RGB. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually start adding some of the interactive elements to our PDF. So to do this, we're going to change our workspace from essentials to interactive PDF. So you'll see in the workspace options there are a few different options. You can play around with these and see what they're like. So digital publishing is not the same as interactive for PDF. Digital publishing is for doing ebooks that will just go on an ebook reader. You cannot access them as a normal kind of PDF, so they're a little bit more niche, but you can do animations and that kind of thing in here. But we are just going to do interactive for PDF, and you'll see the right hand bar has changed a little bit for us now. So we are going to have our hyperlinks here, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to add in some hyperlinks. So what's going to happen is I am going to link it so that when you click on the images for the 3 films, that it will go to the trailer. So I'm just going to add our URLs so that when we click on the images in our interactive PDF, the trailers will play. So I have them loaded up here already. So I'm just going to copy the URL from YouTube. I'm going to go back into my InDesign file and I'm going to paste it in here. and you'll see if it's a good link it will go green, which means it's added the URL. So I'm just going to do the same now for the other two images. Going to click on them, going to get my URL and go back into my InDesign and paste it in here, green light, and I'll do the same thing for Banshees of Inisherin. Not that link. And we will copy this link. And it's green. So now we've added in our 3 hyperlinks. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to add some text anchors. So what that means is that I want that when I click on Banshees of Inisherin, it will bring me down here to this page from our schedule. So in order to do that, we have to make 2 destinations to go to first. So I will highlight my Wolfwalkers page and I will go to the More tab here in Hyperlinks, and I'll add a new hyperlink destination, and it's going to be called Wolfwalkers, and I'll click OK, and I'll do exactly the same thing for Banshees of Inisherin, and I will click a new destination, Banshees of Inisherin, and click OK. And then I'll go back up to my schedule and I will highlight Banshees of Inisherin and I will click new hyperlink, and you'll see now we have the 2 to choose from in our options. So I'll just make sure it's Banshees of Inisherin, and I'm not going to change any of the stylings, but you can play around with this and see what you'd like them to be. I just want to keep it as it is and click OK, and I'll do this for the other instances of Banshees. Make sure it's Banshees, and the same with this one down here, and you'll see they're being added here to our hyperlinks panel. Okay, and then I'll just do the same thing for Wolfwalkers, but I will just make sure that when I make my new hyperlink that the destination is Wolfwalkers. Click OK, and where else is it? Normally it keeps your last made hyperlink, but it seems to keep changing back to the first one. So I'm just making sure that it is Wolfwalkers. I'm going to click OK. So that's all our text anchors and our hyperlinks added in. The next thing we can do then is we have our bookmarks here. So you'll see it's actually open here as well. And bookmarks basically is just like a link on the side of your PDF itself in the Adobe Reader, and you can click on different sections. So I am just going to add in 3 just so that we'll see it in the final output, and it'll give you an idea of how it can be used. Just going to add in what's on, and I'll add in Banshees of Inisherin, and I'll add in our final page just so that it will jump between pages for us when we go to view it. So that is our hyperlinks and our bookmarks. You can also add in buttons. So in order just to show you how this works, I will just create a little text box, and I'll just put a little back arrow in, and I'll highlight it, and I will make it pretty big just so we can see what it's doing, and I'll also just make it white so it's easier to see. So with that text box highlighted, I'll go into my buttons and forms, I'll go and type, and I'll say button, and I will call this back. So on the button, when it's clicked, so unclicked, there's a few other options here, but when it's clicked, I want it to go to the previous page. So there's loads of different options in there. It's like your kind of basic animations, if you've done any in any other program, but it's just a very simple way of having a back button. And I'm just going to keep everything normal, and then that is all our interactive elements that I'm going to add. So I'm just going to do a quick save, and the next thing we are going to do is we are going to package this now. I'm going to go to File and Package, and you'll see now that we have 6 fonts. We have RGB color space and our AI file, so we're just going to ignore that for the minute. And then everything else looks fine. Our links and our images are all there. They're all RGBs or PDFs, so that should be fine. And we're just going to click package, and then this will bring up where it wants me to save it. So I will say desktop, and it's going to take the file name and apply to the folder. So it's film program digital folder, and I want to copy over my fonts, my linked graphics, which is my images, and update all the links. And then I'm not going to include my PDF because I'm going to export out an interactive one. So I'll just click package. I'm going to click OK. And you will see now, on my desktop that there's a digital folder, and in there is my fonts, my working file, and the links to all my images. So the final thing we are going to do is we are going to export out our interactive PDF. Just make sure that I'm in my digital folder, and there's loads of other options in here, but I'm just going to click Adobe PDF Interactive and click Save. And then we have our export panel. So in here we can export out one page. I just click 2, or I can click out a section. So for 1, page 2 and 3, I add them in like this. You can do single pages, or you can do the spreads. So we're going to do spreads, and we're going to do all our pages, and then we're going to leave everything else the same. So you can have transitions between your pages if you want, but I'm just going to leave that as none, and click export and click OK. And we get our loading bar. Shouldn't be too slow. It's just our AI is holding everything up. And then I'll go back into my folder, and you'll see it's here now. So I'll double click on this, and it will open up in our digital PDF is opened. I'll just make this a little bigger. And we have our front page. We have our image here that when I hover over, we get our little hand, and it opens up our
Your wallet sucks. That's
URL, which always has a trailer in front of it. Then we will go in here where we added our text anchors, and you'll see it brings us down to the second page. It's not exact, but it does the job. Then you'll see we have our URLs and our 2 images as well, and we will just go down and see if our back button works, and it does, and it brings us back to the previous page. So then our bookmarks is this along the side. So if you had loads of sections in a long document, you could have like your section headers here, and it'll bring us to the what's on page, it'll bring us to the end page, and it'll bring us to Banshees of Inisherin. So it's just another way of moving through the document, and just a nice little extra thing to have. So the ways in which you can use this is as if you were doing your CV. You could make it a digital CV and have hyperlinks out to like your LinkedIn profile, your portfolio, your Behance. You can link to, like, if you have your projects on another page, if you're going to do like a digital portfolio, you could have like sections for your different projects. You could hyperlink to projects if you had a contents page. So there's loads of different options. I just wanted to give you them all. So this is the kind of file that you are going to submit for your CA3. Thanks for listening.